In animation, it's really important to be able to draw different body types in order to make your characters more distinctive. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do that. So first I'm going to draw a short curvy woman. And to make the design stronger, I am creating contrast between the small torso and the bigger lower body. So I'm starting with the shapes super simple and loose. And I'm using a custom brush at very low opacity. Also, when I'm doing my rough sketches, I like to use a pretty big brush because it prevents me from going into unnecessary details. If you're struggling to draw from imagination, feel free to pull up some references from Google and put them on the side to use. Whenever I'm drawing, I like to use the selection tool with the transform in order to move things around a little bit and readjust my proportions. So I'm going to readjust the torso a little bit and make it longer. I want to show that her thighs are a little bit bigger. So in order to do that, I am going to make the calf muscles a bit smaller. And I'm using the liquify tool to do that because it's faster. And I like to use it a lot to readjust the proportions of my characters. If you're using reference picture, try to notice the most distinctive features about the body and the things that stand out to you the most, and then exaggerate those. For example, here, if I was using a reference picture, I would try to make the torso smaller and make the lower body bigger, because this creates a strong contrast and this is what makes your design better. Now I'm going to keep working on it. So as you can see, I have a lot of round shapes and smooth lines, and I also try to maintain those in the face as well, so the design is more cohesive. And now that we're done with this, I'm going to show you how to draw another body type. So let's try an athletic man. Once again, I begin my rough sketch using a really thick brush, and I'm starting out with really simple geometric shapes. So as opposed to the curvy woman, here I am making the torso and the shoulders quite wide, and I'm keeping the hips very small and also the legs very long and lean. So in real life, when a person is standing up, the center of gravity of their body falls right under the pit of the neck. So you can draw a vertical line from the pit of the neck down. But if you're struggling to make it perfectly vertical, what I like to do is a little trick where I move my character to the side of my canvas. So I'm using the edge of my iPad as a vertical line. So this way I can see where the center of gravity is. And in this case, I think I need to move the legs a little bit in order for it to look better. Or I can move the torso in the other direction, which is what I'm going to do with the liquify tool. And as you will notice, I flip my drawing very often because it helps me to see my mistakes and things that might be a little bit off. I want to make the posture a little bit more relaxed, so I'm selecting the rear leg and moving it a little bit to the right. And I'm also drawing a line across the chest vertically, and this is the center line, and it helps me to make sure that the anatomy will be correct. And now I'm going to keep working on it a little bit more and add some details. And for our third character, let's try to draw someone who is really tall and skinny. So the body shape of this character is going to resemble a rectangle, and everything is going to be really narrow and slim and long. And again, I'm making sure that the center of gravity falls in the middle between the feet. And using the liquify tool, I'm exaggerating the pose a little bit. So I am pushing the hips forward and leaning the torso back a little. Usually when I'm drawing characters, even if they are fully clothed in the final drawing, I like to begin with a sketch where they are only wearing underwear, because this helps me to make sure that the anatomy is correct, and then it's going to look better and more cohesive in the end. And it's also easier when you're adding clothes to a naked figure, because this way you can figure out where to place the clothing folds and how they're going to bend based on the body underneath. So normally in a real human body, the thighs are the same length as the lower leg, but in character design sometimes you will see that exaggerated. So in some cases I like to make the lower leg a little bit shorter, because this breaks the silhouette and it makes it look a little bit more interesting and engaging. So now I'm just going to do some final touches. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned some new things. Don't forget to follow Domestico on social media if you want to get more content. And if you'd like to learn more about character design, make sure to check out my course at Domestika.